Summertime is the time to travel and explore the world. And so today I want to present five of the best watches that I think are amazing travel companions that aren't from Rolex and Tudor. So let's get right into it. So of course, when it comes to anything travel related, the number one watch that will typically be the choice of collectors will either be a diver or in most cases a GMT. I think really a GMT is the go-to for anybody traveling abroad because of course the incredible functionality of being able to time multiple different time zones while away from your distinct home time. Of course, most people will spring towards a Rolex GMT or of course a Tudor GMT, probably two of the most iconic and functional kind of watches when it comes to actually GMT watches, and they're just great versatile pieces overall. Both feature high water resistance, both feature a bracelet, which can of course be replaced for a leather strap on the case of the Tudor GMT. Whereas with Rolex, I think most people will just kind of tend to keep it on a bracelet, but both are kind of very, let's just call it distinct in their design, but kind of more utilitarian and maybe not for the discerned travel who's looking for something a little bit different. And that's where I kind of look for a GMT or a travel watch. Of course, my love for the Rolex GMT is well documented. I have a Rolex GMT Master 2 Batgirl, which I absolutely love. I'm approaching almost 5 years of ownership now with that watch. And it's one of my favorite watches of all time, and it's super functional and does its purpose really, really well. But I think when I'm traveling, I want something that isn't as recognizable and that, frankly, is more of a conversation piece. And these are the five that I have kind of in front of me here, starting at the lower price point. And this is a Longines Zulu time. I think this is one that we've discussed here on the channel before, but at $3,300, I really don't think that there's anything in the watch industry that really competes with this. Of course, the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT is really, really nice, but again, it just kind of harkens back to Rolex designs for me, and I have a hard time getting over that kind of mental barrier with Tudor that it is not the poor man's Rolex, but let's just say like a lesser Rolex to a certain extent, especially because the designs are so kind of distinct to Tudor and are really, I think, influenced by the Rolex brand to a certain degree. I think that Longines with the Zulu time has a much more distinct format and design that I think kind of stands on its own and still keeps all that amazing functionality. Of course, with this piece, you got an amazing bracelet, you get water resistance, you get a micro adjustment in the clasp itself. And at $3,300, I think this is a price point that is really, really spectacular. And again, it's something that most collectors can gravitate towards without kind of breaking the bank to a certain extent. Of course, $3,300 for a watch still being a lot of money, but not being a crazy amount overall when you consider what other GMT watches, even that I'm going to present to you today, will go for in some cases. So I think that the Longines Zulu time, if you're looking for an entry-level luxury travel watch to accompany you on your journey that isn't a dive watch, that has a kind of capability of tracking a second time zone, really there is nothing better, in my opinion, than the Longines Zulu time. And I would probably even pick it over the Tudor GMT, for example, just because of its more distinct design that I feel is a little bit more refreshing and not so catered towards kind of the Rolex GMT look. The second one is from a brand called Ulysse Nardin. I'm sure, again, if many people have watched the channel, they're familiar with this brand. And this here is from the executive line. It's the executive dual time. Now, this may be familiar to many, many people who, of course, may be familiar with the brand and, of course, the lineup. This is a watch famously worn by Jeff Bezos in a certain variation, of course. But what I have in front of me is a really exclusive boutique edition with just this absolutely stunning enamel dial with these blued hands and a function selector. So you get so much kind of complication and horology packed into one watch. And the price point on this one, despite it being a full set with an enamel dial, is only $10,000. For me, I'd be hard pressed to find a better value in terms of an actual travel watch, considering the incredible watchmaking pedigree of Ulysse Nardin, as well as all the functionality that is packed into this watch. Again, you get a date, you get a small seconds, you get a dual time complication, and a function selector where you can wind the watch, you can change the date on a quick use of the crown, and of course you can change the time very quickly, again, through that function selector. This is just a spectacular wristwatch, all with an enamel dial in a steel case. And again, I think this is one of those pieces that you wear on vacation that will really help you bond with the watch, especially given the complication, but I think especially given the beauty of this dial. I mean, this enamel dial, the stark white enamel dial, is just absolutely to die for. And this is something that UN does extremely, extremely well. especially given they have a factory for dial making that they make for even some of the most exclusive brands in the world, like Patek Philippe, for example, in their enamel dial. So yeah, I think this is just a spectacular wristwatch, and at $10,000, again, priced at a discount from a Rolex GMT, where the quality, I would say, in terms of hand finishing, is just a little bit higher. And this being a much more distinct kind of dual time zone watch that I think is a perfect travel companion and something that is a lot more discreet than, say, a Rolex GMT, for example. Now, of course, we're going to keep moving up along in price, but this is a watch that I think is very versatile and that you can get at a variety of price points, and that is a JLC Reverso. This one happens to be in rose gold on a beautiful rose gold bracelet from JLC. And of course, if you were following the newest releases from Watches and Wonders, JLC just released a new Reverso on a beautiful Milanese bracelet, which is absolutely spectacular. This one I want to say is from the early to mid, or maybe the late 2000s to early 2010s, if I had to guess. And it's just a spectacular, spectacular wristwatch. This watch is a dual face, so it is able to track a second time zone via, of course, the pusher in the actual case itself, which will change the hour hand on this second dial here. It has both the white and the black dial, both with kind of these guilloche patterns in the center of them. Just absolutely beautiful timepiece. But again, this showstopper for this model in particular is this beautiful bracelet with this butterfly clasp and almost kind of this beads of rice style that is just absolutely beautiful. When this watch came in, it was one that I seriously considered adding to my personal collection. It's in a smaller case format, which is, to me, the perfect case size. I think JLC Reversos belong in that medium-sized kind of format that this watch kind of lives in, before, of course, the medium format became a thing. And I just think this watch is just beautiful. And of course, again, this one is going to be a little bit of a higher price point because of this bracelet. This is a watch-only example that we're asking $14,000 for, but you can get them in a dual-face configuration in a variety of price points, starting, I want to say, all the way from the $7,000 to $8,000 price point, to the tens of thousands of dollars, like in this case, for example. So, of course, you have a huge variety in terms of what you can actually get. Now, this next watch is going to be from Patek Philippe. I am going to show off two Patek Philippes, but this watch is really just for a genre of watch that is perfect for travel, and of course, that is a world time. Of course, I think nobody does a world time better than Patek Philippe, them being the first to do it in a wristwatch. For those who didn't know, actually, the first to adopt the Louis Cartier world time system was Vacheron Constantin in a pocket watch prior to actually Patek Philippe using it in a wristwatch. So really, Vacheron were the first to use the world time complication, but Patek were the first to establish it in a wristwatch. And I do think that in a wristwatch, nobody does a better world time. This is a reference 5130G from Patek Philippe. So actually, it's one of the larger world times that they ever made. And this has been an extremely popular seller for us overall. I think we've sold 3 in the last month or so, which is just unbelievable. But I totally understand at sub $30,000, this one being a watch-only example that we're asking $29,000 for, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better value in watchmaking. You get a complications from really the most prestigious brand in the industry, Patek Philippe, with, of course, what I believe to be, outside of their chronograph movements, the most noble movement that they make, the 240 micro order. This is just a spectacular wristwatch. And again, under $30,000, it's just an amazing price point for Patek Philippe. I absolutely adore this watch, and I think that the price is just amazing. But of course, you can get a number of different world times from a number of different brands at a much significantly discounted price point of $30,000, like this one, for example, all of which will perform a great function. But I think a world time watch, again, is one of those unique watches that allows you to really travel effortlessly, right? Because you can track so many different time zones. If you're, for example, a traveling consultant who needs New York time, who needs London time, who needs a bunch of different time zones at a quick glance, well, your wristwatch is capable of doing that very effectively. And in the case of this Patek Philippe, it does it in a way that is extremely elegant and that I think has a truly timeless design. And last but certainly not least is my favorite watch on the table, probably my favorite watch that we have in stock, and what I believe to be a top 5 modern Patek Philippe reference. And this is a Patek Philippe reference 5326G with just this incredible asphalt dial, dual time complication, and of course, that incredible annual calendar from Patek Philippe. This features a beautiful micro order movement that is just stunning, platinum micro order, which is just amazing. Just the finishing and design of this movement is absolutely beautiful, spectacularly finished, of course, by Patek Philippe. And I think if I was to pick just one Patek Philippe to live with for the rest of my life, it'd be hard-pressed not to pick this. I mean, I know the word Grail is thrown around, of course, a lot in the watch industry today, but this is truly probably the only Patek I would rather own over my 5235R. I absolutely love my 5235R. It's incredible. It's everything that I want in a wristwatch. It's unique, it's complicated, beautifully finished. But this watch is equally as beautifully well finished and more complicated. I think the only thing I would improve upon this watch is changing it from an annual calendar to a perpetual calendar. And it would truly be a perfect wristwatch. This for me is a 10 out of 10. It's got an amazing design. It's got all the little details on the case, the hobnail case. And of course, that dial is just spectacular. And again, you get that dual time complication, which is perfect for travel. So these are 5 incredible travel watches to accompany you this summer on your travels throughout the world. Guys, let me know what are some of your favorite watches to travel with. And of course, it's always good to get your feedback down below. If you enjoyed any of these watches or you're interested in any of these, of course, you can always reach out to me or reach out through our website, birdines.com. It would be a pleasure to assist you to acquire your next timepiece. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like the video, subscribe for more videos like this in the future. My name is Marco from Bernines Jewelry. I'll see you guys in the next one.